Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're focusing on maybe one of the most pressurized roles in tech right now, the financial UX designer.
Definitely.
You're tasked with building something that's innovative, delightful, super simple, but it's handling the one thing people trust least: their money.
Yeah.
It feels like a massive conflict, right? How do you push digital experiences forward but keep that absolute institutional credibility?
It's really the highest stakes environment you can find in digital product design. I mean, think about it. A small design slip up in a social app, annoying maybe,
Right.
but a small design failure in a banking app, that could cost someone thousands or just instantly erode years of trust.
Exactly. And our deep dive today is really about finding a way through that tension. We're looking at how product teams can actually integrate generative AI, tools like ChatGPT into the standard banking UX workflow. The mission here is to pull out the specific tested prompts, the techniques, the things that move you from just talking about efficiency gains to actually getting transformative results.
And the basic idea, it's simple, but it's quite powerful. Think of ChatGPT as a sort of creative co-pilot.
Okay.
It helps accelerate, enhance human creativity by adding this layer of AI-generated insights. It fundamentally shifts what a design team can handle. Before AI, maybe you had time to really explore, say, 10 design concepts deeply.
How realistically.
You could potentially explore 100, and that just sets a new, much higher standard for financial UX.
Okay, I get the promise of speed, of velocity, but let's push on the why. Why risk bringing rapid iteration AI into a field that, frankly, demands meticulous, sometimes really slow, careful work?
Because, and this is key, we're augmenting the designer's abilities, their cognitive, their creative capacity. We're not talking about replacing back-end security or compliance protocols, not at all.
Right, that stays separate.
Exactly. The benefits here are about cutting down wasted human effort and massively increasing the depth of insight you can get.
Okay, so give us that efficiency argument. What does it really mean for a financial product team on the ground?
Well, first off, it's accelerating the ideation phase. AI can generate a huge, diverse range of design concepts, flows, potential solutions. And it does it incredibly quickly.
So less staring at a blank whiteboard.
Precisely. Designers can kind of bypass those painful hours-long brainstorming ruts, and spend their critical human time refining the ideas that actually show promise.
So it frees up those high-value human hours for, critical thinking, not just churning out raw ideas.
Exactly.
Yep.
And it also enables much better pattern recognition. You can feed AI large data sets now, not raw user data, obviously, but aggregated research data.
Anonymized.
Yes, anonymized, to form really detailed hypotheses about user needs, preferences. This speeds up how you validate new features, making sure every enhancement is highly informed. It complements the quantitative data you already have.
That suggests it's not just about doing things faster, it's about maybe pushing the boundaries of what's even considered possible in banking UX.
Absolutely. It enhances creativity because it acts like an external disruptor. ChatGPT can challenge those internal assumptions, maybe offer genuinely unconventional ideas that just wouldn't bubble up if the only inputs are, what competitors are doing.
Right, the usual suspects.
Yeah, it introduces this sort of randomized collision of concepts.
I can see the leverage there. And all this, I guess, leads to more truly informed decision-making, like qualitative insights backing up the hard numbers.
Correct. It provides that deeper why behind user behavior that, quantitative metrics alone often can't explain. This lets teams shift from just guessing what users want to actually building what the data and the insights suggest they need.
Okay, so that covers the why. But the real value for you listening comes in the how. Let's move from this high-level theory to specific actionable prompts, things you can take into your next sprint meeting.
Okay, let's do it. Let's start with user research and insight generation. The goal here really is about enhancing empathy. And the trick is using ChatGPT to simulate complex, diverse user personas and quite nuanced financial scenarios.
So we're not just asking for a young user, we need depth.
We need actionable complexity. You prompted something like, develop a detailed persona for a 28-year-old freelance photographer managing highly irregular income, needs to save for equipment, uses 3 gig platforms. Describe their specific daily banking friction points.
Okay, very specific.
Or, for a critical demographic.
Yeah.
Imagine a scenario with a 75-year-old user, new to mobile banking, needs to monitor funds for 2 separate retirement accounts.
Right.
What are their core security concerns? What about navigation challenges?
That makes an abstract problem feel immediately tangible for the designer, doesn't it?
It does.
Now let's talk about anticipating friction. You mentioned using AI to predict user feedback before a launch. How reliable is that simulated feedback, really?
That's a fair question. Look, it's not a replacement for live testing. Let's be clear on that.
Right.
But what it does is highlight potential risk factors. You could ask ChatGPT, for instance. Generate a list of potential user concerns and praises for a new AI-driven budgeting tool that analyzes spending. Focus specifically on privacy anxieties and maybe confusion around default settings.
Okay, so that lets you maybe spot critical failure points like, I don't know, potential privacy messaging gaps and address them in the design phase, which has got to cut down on those expensive post-launch fixes.
Exactly. And if you're sitting on mountains of existing data, don't ignore it. Input anonymized customer reviews and ask the AI to, say, identify the top 5 thematic issue areas users repeatedly mention with the automated bill pay feature. Or maybe group common complaints related to transaction categorization. This becomes a really powerful data-driven way to prioritize your enhancements.
And this also helps refine traditional research, right? It means those precious 15 minutes you get with a user in an interview are spent on really high-value questions.
Absolutely. Prompt it to. Create 5 insightful interview questions to uncover the deep-seated pain points users face when moving from browsing investments to actually setting up their first brokerage account. Or design user interview questions focused on understanding the psychological barriers people have to adopting automatic savings features.
Okay, we've built the research foundation. Let's pivot now to the build phase. Design, prototyping, the actual microcopy. Where does AI give the most immediate help there?
Well, starting with something vital, accessibility. You can prompt ChatGPT to suggest really concrete modifications for users with specific impairments.
Like what?
For instance, suggest UX changes to improve screen reader compatibility for visually impaired users trying to do a 2-factor authentication sign-in. Or propose menu structure simplifications that would help users with cognitive load challenges navigate the app more easily.
So baking inclusivity into the blueprint from the start.
Yes. And then let's talk about the emotional side of finance. It's highly sensitive stuff. How does AI help design for trust or maybe alleviate anxiety?
Yeah, that's crucial.
By mapping the specific emotional journeys. Think about really high-stress financial events. We can ask the AI to map the emotional stages, like a user applies for a significant personal loan in the app. Map out their emotional curve from clicking Apply through uploading documents to the final decision. Pinpoint the moment of highest anxiety.
Wow. So if you know a user might be feeling deep panic while waiting for that loan approval, you can design a specific micro-interaction, maybe a proactive notification, an encouraging message, even just an estimated wait time.
Exactly. To manage and stabilize that emotion.
That's designing for loyalty, isn't it?
It really is. And then there's the critical element of UX microcopy. ChatGPT is surprisingly good at generating clear, concise, user-friendly communication during those critical moments.
Okay, examples.
You could ask it, generate 3 versions of a helpful, non-alarming error message for a failed fund transfer due to insufficient balance. Or create onboarding microcopy for first-time users explaining the security benefits of setting up 2-factor authentication clearly. That kind of clarity builds user confidence right away.
So we've covered these sort of tactical improvements. Let's zoom out again. Strategic outlook. How does AI shift the design process from just fixing what's broken to like proactively shaping market strategy?
Well, it allows product designers to kind of break out of the industry echo chamber. It makes it easier to draw inspiration from seemingly unrelated industries. We call it cross-pollination.
Right. Traditionally, designers just look at competitor apps.
Exactly. Now, they can look pretty much anywhere.
How do you prompt that kind of lateral thinking, though?
You ask ChatGPT something like, analyze the core engagement mechanics of fitness tracking apps, the goals, streaks, rewards. How could those gamification elements be ethically integrated into a banking app to motivate users to save more or monitor their credit health? Or adapt features from professional networking platforms to enhance user confidence in a peer-to-peer payment security feature.
That could really create a unique product signature. And thinking about the market, it's increasingly diverse. Cultural nuance feels non-negotiable now.
Absolutely. And you can tailor UX for diverse markets with incredible speed using AI. For example, suggest modifications to the app interface for users in regions with lower digital literacy, focusing on replacing text with intuitive visual diagrams.
Okay.
Or, maybe more subtly, detail how color palettes and imagery in the investment section should be adjusted for East Asian markets, considering the cultural symbolism of, say, red and gold in financial contexts.
That's really deep market adaptation. And finally, looking ahead, how do we use this tool to anticipate technological disruption, to stay ahead?
We use it to forecast potential tech impacts and how user expectations might evolve. You could prompt it. Predict the impact of biometric verification advances on user expectations for banking security over the next 5 years. How must current apps adapt? Or analyze how widespread adoption of smart home devices might create new opportunities or risks for transactional banking interactions. This helps ensure the app isn't just chasing trends, but maybe even shaping them.
Okay, we've painted this picture of incredible augmentation, but we absolutely have to spend serious time on the firewall. In a high-stakes environment like finance, the human designer isn't just important, they are the final safety gate, right?
That's the crucial context. Absolutely. Generative AI is a powerful hypothesis generator, a great starting point, but it is not a replacement. Its suggestions are purely synthetic. They must be validated through actual research, live interviews, A/B testing, user trials.
So what are the core competencies that human designers bring that AI just fundamentally lacks, especially when we're talking financial liability?
Foremost, I'd say, is human empathy and emotional intelligence. Financial decisions are intensely sensitive, personal. A human designer understands or can strive to understand the feeling of applying for that big loan or facing an unexpected fee. AI lacks genuine emotional intelligence, and that's critical for crafting experiences that actually build trust and genuinely alleviate user distress.
And the legal framework, the liability here is potentially enormous.
Human oversight is simply non-negotiable because of things like fiduciary duty and complex regulatory compliance. AI does not understand legal nuances.
No way.
If an AI generates microcopy that, incorrectly describes a product's terms or unintentionally creates language that violates accessibility laws or equitable lending laws, the institution, not the algorithm, bears that legal liability. Designers are the firewall. They interpret these complex regulations, they ensure equitable access, they apply ethical judgment, they mitigate serious legal risks.
That really shifts the conversation from just optimization to serious, high-stakes risk mitigation.
Precisely. And additionally, AI lacks strategic thinking in the human sense. Designers are constantly balancing competing needs, what the user wants, business revenue goals, what's technically feasible, regulatory constraints. That's a multifaceted decision-making process. It requires complex human judgment far beyond what current AI can do.
So the message for the designer listening is clear. AI doesn't replace you. It makes you potentially exponentially more powerful, provided you maintain that stringent oversight.
Correct. Incorporating ChatGPT can enhance creativity, efficiency, data-driven insights, no doubt. But the human-centered approach, that remains paramount for security, for compliance, and for truly empathetic design. AI serves to augment, not replicate, the designer's irreplaceable work.
Okay, let's end then with the most actionable best practices for financial UX teams wanting to use this. What should they keep top of mind?
Okay, first, be hyper-specific with prompts. Use detailed parameters, target demographic, their likely emotional state, the regulatory goal you're aiming for. You need specifics to get useful output.
Right. Garbage in, garbage out still applies.
Absolutely. Second, iterate and treat outputs as drafts. AI provides the clay, maybe, but the human designer must sculpt it. Third, always combine with user testing. Simulation is never reality. You need real feedback. And fourth, the critical banking-specific step. Implement a mandatory regulatory sign-off process. Before any AI-generated microcopy or flow goes into production, legal and compliance must sign off. That ensures compliance remains the final, absolute gate.
Okay. The integration of AI definitely positions financial product designers right at the forefront of digital innovation, but it also challenges them, you, to use this new power responsibly. So here's the final thought for you to explore. Given this massive acceleration in idea generation that AI makes possible, how quickly can a financial institution ethically, legally, realistically scale its human oversight and complex judgment to truly keep pace with that velocity?
That question, I think that determines who leads the market tomorrow.
Thanks for diving in with us today. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive.